Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on some subtractive edge highlighting, which is kind of a neat idea. If you're just new to the hobby or you're not that steady with the hands, it's actually a great way to kind of, make sure that you've got a nice clean line. Or if you're looking at speeding things up a little bit, it's also a neat technique to try that as well. So let's give it a go. Now on our Primaris Marines here, you can see that they're pretty much made for edge highlighting. They've got all these, plates, and they've got all these raised elements all throughout here, and they got lots of hard edges, all kind of making up the model. So you'll see here on the back plates and the hip plates and all that as well. Now to do a traditional edge highlight, what you would do is you would just take your paintbrush here, make sure you don't have too much paint on the brush, and then you just kind of go over and you just very carefully at an angle here, just not scrape over the edges, but just kind of move over the edges, and that'll give you, a decent highlight. My paint might be a little bit thin here, so I just apply multiple coats, and that works out pretty well. It looks, pretty decent. You get a nice straight line. Now, where the real difficulty comes in is when you're trying to do something with a curvature. So if it is a pauldron, or if it is a knee pad, or even if it's just something as simple as two joints kind of happening back here. One of the things that you can do is, if I was to paint this back piece in here, I could just go over, I do my basic edge highlighting, so I know those work, and then get some of the paint off there. And then what I could do is, if I wanted to define these edges here, I could go over top, but it's not always easy to draw that straight line. So if you're a little messy or a little sloppy, that's totally okay. And if it gets a little heavy, that's also fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to use another color here, and we're going to subtract kind of away from it. All right, so sometimes when you're going around an edge plate like this, you'll get a little sloppy, it'll go over. Or if you're doing a knee pad, it's especially difficult to try and get that perfect edge because you don't have a straight line to play with. So you do the best that you can, and you edge around. All right, or if it's on your plates, if you do the same thing, if you're not, if you're a little sloppy kind of going over, then that's no big deal. We'll wait for that to dry, and then we'll do the subtractive color, which is basically the main color that we use for most of our overbrushing on our armor. Okay, so once we let this dry, you can see here it's not as tidy as it could have been in a couple different areas here. So along the back, the plate itself here, and especially the rounded areas like the knee pads. One of the things you can do is you can take your base color, so your first kind of overbrush highlight after the wash or whatever it is you're doing, and I can take a little bit of paint, toss it on my brush here, and then I can go in, and sometimes it's a little easier to take away what we have here. So I can work my way towards the edge, and because I'm painting a larger surface, it's a lot easier to go in and get that really fine highlight. So again, just kind of picking my way through here. And on the hip pad here, this kind of hip piece of armor, it's a lot easier to take away sometimes than to get that perfect edge on your highlight. And on the back area here, you can just take away what doesn't look like the highlight. It's like when they asked Michelangelo to sculpt an elephant, and he would do it, and they'd say, "How did you do that?" And he said, "Well, I just looked at the marble and took away everything that wasn't looking like an elephant," which is awesome. All right, and you can see that you've got a fairly fine line now, and it wasn't a whole lot of work, and you can keep working away at it all you like, but you still get the highlight off. It looks like you have a nice sharp highlight, but in reality you weren't painting any very fine lines at all. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. This was just a little quick and dirty tutorial on how I sometimes approach my edge highlights, and I like the fact that you can get a nice clean result without really having to have super steady hands. So hope it was of value. Thanks so much for watching. Obviously, if you liked the video, hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe and you'll get more of our videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.